We are all part of a bigger picture. We are all part of a bigger whole, and our existence on Earth is just a very tiny and limited piece of that whole.
Welcome to In the Spotlight. Today my guest is Leideke, and Leideke is a spiritual teacher, coach and public speaker for women all around the world. And we are going to dive into the topic of spiritual leadership. Welcome Leideke. Let's get straight into things. I know you have a big mission. Will you please share with us what it is?
In short, I'd like to help people remember who they really are, and to take action upon their soul purpose and to make the world a better place. I empower women to take spiritual leadership of their own lives first, and to make a difference in the world that the world so desperately needs these days. What I truly believe is that we are not human beings having a spiritual experience. I truly believe that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. Our soul whispers, and if we don't pay enough attention, our soul screams to us that it's time for us to rise and to speak up and to share our unique gifts with the world, to contribute to the transformation of the earth, to the evolution of humankind. And you do that by shining your light authentically and to be who you really are.
That is big. You say a lot of big things. Beautiful. One thing you just said, I've heard it before, but it's definitely not typical for everyone on this planet. You said we are not human beings having a spiritual experience. You say it's the other way around. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. What do you mean by that?
So what I mean by that is that we are all part of a bigger picture. We are all part of a bigger whole, and our existence on Earth is just a very tiny and limited piece of that whole. And we are all connected. Everything and everybody is connected with each other, as we are all from the same source or the one creator. And I'd like people to realize that we are spiritual beings and we are part of that bigger whole. And I think it's, if you realize that, it puts things into perspective, such as your relationships, your interactions with others, and but also your daily life and your struggles.
So you're a spiritual teacher, especially for women. What type of women do you work with?
Okay, so I work with women who desire to make a difference in the world, and they are especially highly sensitive women who felt different for almost their entire life. And they suppressed parts of themselves, they adjusted themselves, and especially their sensitivity. And they even dimmed their light, and they started to believe that others were right and they were wrong. And yeah, they basically abandoned their true self.
I think that is, you speak to a lot of women on this planet that will be like, oh yeah, that's me. So how do you help them become more spiritual leaders in their own life?
I help them to shine their light unapologetically and to own their sensitivity and to give expression to their unique gifts to make the world a better place.
So what is one thing that anybody watching right now can do to implement spiritual leadership in their own lives? Can you give us an example?
One very simple thing that you can implement today in your life is to, if you meet strangers, for example, on the street, you can look them straight in the eyes and give them your most beautiful smile. And when you do that, you can say to yourself, I am you and you are me. I bless you. So
instead of looking down and just being busy with your phone, to make contact with people you meet and bless them.
Yes, exactly.
That's beautiful.
Just eye contact, and you can be silent, you just smile at them, it helps you realize that we are one. It's just that we come in different packages.
So let's hear a little bit more about you. How is your personal story related to everything you do?
As from a very young age, I felt different. I felt like a dreamer. I felt very sensitive, and I wanted to fit in and to be socially accepted, but I felt different. And so I muted my light and started to adjust to other people. And I was thinking that they were right and I was wrong, and that they were normal and I was wrong. And on top of that, my father died. And within a year, my mother died as well.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a very dark time for me. Yeah, but it was my turning point at the same time, because in that moment that my mother was dying in the hospital, I was 4 months pregnant as well of my second son. And I then realized that every person experiences pain at some level. And we just have a choice how we deal with the pain. We can make a choice, a very conscious choice. Either we be a victim, or we use our pain and our setbacks to transform it into something very positive. And that's what I choose. And in that moment, which was my turning point.
You realized it in that very moment, with your mom dying, your dad just having passed, and you being 4 months pregnant with your second child.
Yes.
Wow, that's big.
Yeah, and I'm very blessed. I feel very blessed that I experienced that in that moment, because I could consciously choose to not be a victim, but to transform that situation into something very positive. And from that moment on, I decided to no longer adjust anymore and to make very powerful choices.
So what did you choose? What changed in your life?
In that moment, I decided to make very powerful choices that served me. I decided to lovingly let go of people that didn't serve me any longer. I decided to choose things that really light up my soul, such as music that made me happy, books that made me happy, that I could learn from, music, people, all sorts of things. I decided to no longer watch television.
No television at all?
Almost not, no.
No Netflix?
Every now and then, but hardly. Yeah, and especially not news, because it really makes me sad. And I choose to do programs, workshops, education that really light up my soul. And yeah, that basically created a new foundation for me and transformed my life. My inner change didn't happen overnight. It was a period of about 10 years or so.
Yeah, it's good that you mentioned that, because a lot of people think when I have an aha moment, oh my gosh, my life changes overnight.
Yeah.
But there's work to do, right?
I wish it was.
Yeah, like the magic pill, but it took you about 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have, out of all the workshops and the books you read, do you have like a big source of inspiration? I'm just curious who that is and why.
I really, really adore Gabrielle Bernstein. And what I especially like from her is how she brings spirituality to the masses, through social media.
Yeah.
I think that's so super cool in these days.
Yeah, she does that really, really well, like young and old.
Yeah.
There are quite a lot spiritual teachers out there. What do you feel is your superpower? What makes you different and stand out from the others?
What makes me different is I help sensitive people own their sensitivity and use it as a superpower instead of experience it as their weakness. Yeah. Because it is their superpower.
I think you're spot on. A lot of sensitive women see their sensitivity as a weakness, and especially because it's so difficult for them to maintain their energy around other people. They feel drained and they don't know how to deal with that. Do you have, because you're a sensitive woman yourself, you said, Do you have like a spiritual practice you turn to, something in your morning ritual that can help with that?
Yeah, I certainly do. I have this morning meditation that I do, and I create a sacred space to protect myself. And then I connect with Source to raise my energy, and I connect with Mother Earth to ground myself. Then I set my intention for the day.
Wow. Is that something that you can take us through, like a quickie live demo right now?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay, what do I need to do?
Okay, you can sit comfortably.
Comfortably?
Yes. So put your feet flat on the ground and relax your hands. Close your eyes. And take a deep breath through your nose. And breathe out through your mouth. Now, imagine that you create this very powerful sacred space around you, above your head, below your feet, around you. I ask and intend, and if I say I ask, you can think that for yourself. I ask and intend to create a very powerful sacred space around me. And I ask and intend to release all the energies that are not aligned with the frequency of Source. I ask and intend to raise my vibration. And I ask and intend to connect with Source. And you don't need to see it, just intend. I ask and intend to let the light of Source flow through me, entering my skull through the crown. There's this liquid, bright light that is purifying, purging every single cell that is filled with this light. Flowing through the entire body, through the feet, into the earth. Connecting you with the center of the earth. So you are an anchor for Source to express itself here on earth through your heart. And I ask and intend to set my intention for the day and to touch many people's lives, for example. Now you can open your eyes. That was a short version.
Yeah, I get
a
that.
very short version.
Yeah. Thank you, that was beautiful. So how can women that are watching right now that want to know more, how can they work with you?
People can work with me one-on-one. I do coaching. I work with women all over the world in English, and as I'm Dutch, I do coaching in Dutch as well.
Online and offline?
Yeah.
Like live and on Skype?
Yeah. And I do public speaking as well for women's groups and for businesses to teach them how to integrate spiritual leadership into their personal life or their business. People can also find online programs on my website that they can learn from at home. And yeah, so on my website you can find all the information, and there's also free content to download.
Finally, if there's one little nugget of wisdom that you want to leave the women watching right now with, what would it be? What do you want to say to them? Grab your moment.
I'd say own your sensitivity, because that's your superpower. You are not crazy, you are a pioneer, and you are here to transform the world. And you're not alone.
You're not alone, definitely not. Thank you so much, Leideke. It was wonderful having you, and let's change lives with this one.